And I would force myself to do something or to try to be something that I wasn't. And I believed that there was a right way to go through life and a wrong way to go through life, and I was most certainly doing it wrong. Too often, distress and anxiety lead to overwhelm, and that overwhelm steals the joy from our lives. In this episode, I'm sharing 6 strategies to increase your distress tolerance and reduce anxiety so you can enjoy the experiences you desire. Hey lady, welcome to the Highly Sensitive Woman podcast. Do you struggle with self-doubt, setting boundaries, or feeling overwhelmed? My name is Alyssa, and I'm a highly sensitive woman who spent years trying to fit in, ignoring my own needs, and living in constant fear of disappointing others. But I finally discovered the power of embracing who I am, and now I don't feel so broken. In this podcast, you'll learn to find your voice, set boundaries, and live with bold confidence and inner peace. Grab a cozy blanket. It's time to connect with someone just like you. The other day, on her way home from work, a friend of mine had to do a little defensive driving. She accelerated, and then she had to stop, and then she had to accelerate quickly again and change lanes, and then slam on her brakes because it was a very short distance to the red light. Apparently, her car got very overwhelmed with all of that driving, and it just kind of short-circuited for a moment. The engine light was flashing, the brake light was on, and another light was on. A car with squiggly lines, I believe, is how it was described to me, and I am certain that is the official term for that light. Anyhow, it needed a break for just a moment. So she shut the car off, restarted it, and then was able to continue driving perfectly. And when she was telling me this story, I kind of laughed. She too is a highly sensitive woman, and I said to her, I think that your car must be highly sensitive as well, and it just got overwhelmed, kind of sensory overload, and it just shut down for a minute. So my point to this is that happens to us a lot of times, right? We get overstimulated and overwhelmed by our surroundings, and then we just need a minute to reset. You know, I've mentioned before that several years ago, I had become a shell of myself and that I rarely left the house. And when I did, I needed someone to go with me as a security blanket. I really lacked self-acceptance and, how I am wired and how I did get overstimulated in situations where other people were completely comfortable. And I would force myself to do something or to try to be something that I wasn't. And I believed that there was a right way to go through life and a wrong way to go through life, and I was most certainly doing it wrong, and that I just needed to be more like other people. And that led to a lot of anxiety almost every single day. And when I would do something social, that was a huge source of overstimulation and kind of sensory overload. And then as that became challenging, I would also then have the anticipatory anxiety, and that would kind of get me really heightened before I went. And I would become fearful of how overwhelmed I had gotten in a previous outing and that I didn't know how to manage my emotions. And it just sort of became this cyclical thing where I would get overwhelmed in an event. I would become less inclined to go to another one. So then I would have more anticipatory anxiety the next time I was trying to do something. I went into the event even more heightened. I would get even more overwhelmed at that event. And that cycle just kind of continued, which is why then I got to the point where I almost never left the house because I couldn't manage it. I didn't have the skills at the time. On more than one occasion, I got so overwhelmed in a grocery store that I left a cart full of food and just left. There were times where I had to leave a social gathering because I didn't have those skills to calm myself down in the moment. And I was like, I have to get out of here. And ultimately, I stopped doing things, and that overwhelm and anxiety had stolen the joy that I had for the things that I used to enjoy doing, and ultimately, my joy for life in general. One of the things that I love so very much is listening to live music. And it is something that I do on a regular basis now. That being said, I know myself well enough to know I'm not going to go to a 3-day music festival with thousands of people and multiple bands, right? I have learned how to manage my senses so that I can do the things that I enjoy doing, and also accepted that some things just aren't a good fit for who I am and how I was wired. So today, we are going to talk about some tools that you can use when you are feeling a little bit of anxiety or distress, and help you manage that in the moment so it doesn't steal from your joy and you can continue to participate in events that you like. Because the reality is, distress is part of life. And no matter how hard you try to avoid it, discomfort and being stimulated by things is inevitable. So learning how to manage it is really, really useful, because then you get to continue to do those things that you enjoy. So 6 strategies that you can try in the moment so that you can enjoy a social outing with your friends, or maybe going to a sporting event with your partner, or if you're like me, live music, maybe with someone or maybe by yourself. So tip number 1, excuse yourself, go to the restroom, and just shake your body. That movement helps release the energy that is building up, and it really does help calm your senses and reduce and eliminate some of the anxiety that you might be feeling. Another tip is to splash cold water on your face, or if you have the ability to get an ice pack or a baggie of ice, to put that on your face or your neck. That change in temperature, right? Because we typically get a little flush, or maybe a lot flush, when we are feeling overstimulated and full of anxiety and overwhelmed, and we can get pretty hot. So that drastic change in temperature with the cold water or even an ice pack can really shock your system and calm your senses. If I'm in a situation where this is happening and I'm at home, I actually keep one of those gel packs. Instead of keeping it in my freezer, I keep it in my refrigerator, so it's cold enough to kind of shock my system, but it's not so cold coming out of the freezer that it hurts my skin. If you have one of those, keep it in your fridge. A third strategy for when you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't want to leave the event is to give yourself a hug. Now, maybe you don't want to do that in front of other people, so you can excuse yourself again and go to the restroom and give yourself a hug. Or another option is to squeeze one of your wrists with your other hand, and it stimulates your nervous system in the same way as giving yourself a hug, and it can be very comforting and soothing and kind of calm your senses in the moment. Tip number 4 is to try some paced breathing. So really slowing down your breath and breathing out more slowly than you breathe in. So for example, breathe in for 5 seconds, briefly hold it, and then breathe out for 7 seconds. And do that as many times as you need to kind of calm yourself and get recentered. Strategy number 5 is paired muscle relaxation. So we're going to pair squeezing and relaxing your muscles with some breathing. So breathe in while you are tensing your body muscles as much as you can without causing your muscles to cramp. And then as you exhale, release the tension in your muscles. That combination of contracting and releasing your muscles paired with that breathing, again, regulates your body systems and helps calm the anxiety so that you can resume the activity and enjoy the time with your partner, your children, your friends, whoever you might be with. And tip number 6 is to take a moment to notice what is around you and help ground you back into your body and the present moment. So looking around, and what do you see? What do you smell? Perhaps maybe just noticing the breeze on your skin or the sun on your face, or tuning into a single sound that you might be hearing, a bird chirping, or maybe there is some music playing in the distance. When you're getting overstimulated by all of the sensations that are happening around to you, tuning into just one or two can really narrow your focus and help with that overwhelm and the distress that you are feeling and bring you back into the moment so that you can enjoy that time and the experience that you are having. So just to recap, excuse yourself and go shake your body. Try splashing some cold water or getting an ice pack to put on your face. Giving yourself a hug or using your hand to squeeze your wrist. Trying paced breathing or paired muscle relaxation with your breath, and noticing what is around you and focusing on one or two senses. The next time you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated, give one of these a try, or maybe try a couple of them to, kind of bring you back into the moment so that you can enjoy the experience and you can start creating a pattern of realizing that you can manage your emotions and your senses when you are out, and we don't have to be fearful of trying something the next time, and you can enjoy those future experiences as well. If you would like some help learning how to tolerate distress and manage your anxiety and prevent overwhelm from stealing your joy, send me an email at info@lifecoachalissa.com and let's have a conversation and see if I might be able to help. I hope this episode blesses you and that these tips help you find more joy in your next experience. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may be feeling like she's broken too? I'd love it if you'd leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It brings me so much joy to know this podcast is helping you. Now it's time for me to stop talking and go soothe my senses in nature. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Take care.